Tonight, you'll fall asleep like you always do. And sometime before dawn, maybe 2 a.m., maybe 3, your eyes will open. The room is dark, the house is silent, and your brain is completely, frustratingly awake. You'll check your phone, 3:14 a.m., 4 hours until your alarm, which suddenly feels both very far away and not far enough. You close your eyes, you wait, and the waiting makes it worse. You know it will, and it does anyway. You've probably been here before, maybe more nights than you can count. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a quiet fear that something is wrong with you, that your body is broken, that other people don't have this problem. But what if I told you that this moment, the one that feels most like failure, is actually your body doing exactly what it was built to do? And what if the real story begins not in your bedroom, but around a fire in the dark 300,000 years ago? For almost the entire history of our species, humans did not sleep the way you sleep tonight. They didn't aim for 8 hours. They didn't have a bedtime. The concept of one single, uninterrupted block of sleep, the thing your doctor recommends, the thing you feel guilty about failing to achieve, is measured against the full span of human existence, brand new. In 2001, a historian named Roger Kirch at Virginia Tech published a paper that quietly changed sleep science forever. He had spent 16 years on it, not a sabbatical, not a research grant that ran a few semesters. 16 actual years, digging through court records, private letters, medical guides from the 1400s, prayer books, even a handful of passages in Homer's Odyssey that translators had been quietly mistranslating for centuries, because what they described didn't fit anything anyone recognized. And scattered across all of it, he found the same two words, appearing again and again across centuries, across languages, across continents. First sleep, second sleep. Before the industrial age, humans didn't sleep in one block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept for roughly 4 hours, and then naturally, without alarm, without disorder, woke up. They stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. Then they went back to sleep for another 4 hours until dawn. This wasn't insomnia, it was the schedule. The actual biological schedule of the human body. The one that ran for thousands of years, before anyone decided we needed to consolidate it into a single block and call everything else a disorder. Almost no one alive today knows it ever existed. And the ones who do, sleep researchers mostly, tend to go a little quiet when they talk about what it means. So what did people actually do during those hours? A doctor's manual from the 1500s called it the best time to study. When the mind, as they wrote, is calm and the world is still. People interpreted their dreams while the images were still fresh. They wrote, they thought about their lives in ways the busy, fractured hours of daylight never quite allowed. And here's the detail that stays with me. A 16th century French physician recommended it as the ideal time for couples to conceive children, not because of romance, because he believed the mind and body were most open, most receptive, most fully themselves in that particular darkness. He was, it turns out, probably right. They call this window the watch. Think about that word for a moment. Not sleep, not rest. The watch as in someone is keeping vigil. Someone is present. Something is being tended. Not a disorder, a feature. One that was built into every human night. For longer than history has words for. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Ware at the National Institute of Mental Health decided to find out what would actually happen if he removed artificial light from people's lives entirely. He took a group of volunteers and gave them 14 hours of complete darkness every night. The same amount of darkness our ancestors lived with before electricity. Within a few weeks, without any instruction, without any suggestion from the researchers, every single participant began sleeping in 2 separate phases, with 1 to 3 hours of calm wakefulness in between. Nobody told them to. Their bodies just did it, as if some ancient program had been running quietly inside them, the whole time waiting for the lights to go out. Ware measured their hormone levels during the wakeful window. What he found is the part of this story I keep thinking about. During the watch, participants' brains were producing elevated levels of prolactin, the same hormone released during deep meditation, in the calm after intimacy, in the rare moments when the mind becomes genuinely still. The participants didn't describe feeling restless or anxious. They described feeling peaceful, reflective, awake in a way that felt completely different from ordinary waking. It wasn't insomnia, it wasn't a gap in sleep. It was its own distinct state of human consciousness, one that existed inside every human night for hundreds of thousands of years, and that most people alive today have never once experienced. So what killed it? The answer, like most things that have quietly shaped your life without your knowledge, comes down to a single invention. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was among the first, under Louis XIV, not for beauty, but to reduce crime. London followed, then came cheaper candles. Then gas lamps in the early 1800s. And then in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb. Within a single generation, the night as human beings had known it, for 300,000 years, was gone. Your body cannot tell the difference between a light bulb and the sun. When light hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain reads it as noon. It suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals your body to begin its first sleep. It pushes back your entire sleep architecture by hours. So your first sleep starts later than it ever should. And when your body tries to wake naturally for the watch, at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., there's no space for it. Your alarm goes off in 4 hours. The room is never truly dark. So you lie there rigid and you call it a disorder. Researchers have found that people who spend just 1 week camping, with no artificial light at all, have their melatonin cycles reset by nearly 2 hours. 1 week, that's all it takes. For 300,000 years of programming to quietly reassert itself, like water finding its way back to a riverbed. It carved 100,000 years ago. Sit with that for a second. We didn't just change when we sleep. We erased an entire phase of human consciousness, a quiet meditative state that your ancestors entered every single night, a window of reflection that existed inside the human experience, for longer than language, longer than agriculture, longer than every civilization that has ever risen and fallen on this earth. And then we gave that erasure a clinical name. We told you it was a disorder, we sold you pills for it. We told you to try harder, sleep earlier, put your phone down, buy a better mattress. But the next time you wake at 3 a.m., eyes open, the house completely still, your mind unexpectedly clear. Your body isn't broken, it's not even close to broken. It just remembers something that you were never told existed. It's keeping the watch. And somewhere deep in that stillness, if you let it, instead of reaching for your phone, instead of fighting it, you might find the one kind of quiet that the modern world never managed to manufacture. The kind your ancestors had every single night. The kind that was taken from you before you were old enough to know it existed. And the kind that, even now, your body has never stopped looking for.